You are listening to SPC's Coaches Corner.
Ladies and gentlemen of SPC, we are giving you a brand new show called the Coach's Corner, where we don't deal with any news regarding the league overall, with the exception of talking to the coaches of SPC to give you an idea of who these guys are. They're not just a name that comes across your screen. They're people. These people are real people, and we're going to bring you those people live to give you some entertainment, some insight into what they do, how they do. And first up, who we have with us today is Swift, the coach of the New England Patriots. Just do your job. That's what they call him, Swift. So welcome to the program, Swift. We want to talk about the Patriots, of course. You're the coach of the Patriots, your second year with SPC. To begin, I do want to ask you, how many leagues are you in currently?
Just one other league.
One other league? Is that MLM by chance, or are you still part of them, or you left, or?
Yeah, MLM.
Okay. And just, I'm not trying to compare leagues to see who's the best league out there, but overall, what are some of the things you do like about SPC? You don't even have to talk about the other league, but what do you actually like about SPC so far?
SPC is an easier to schedule game. I'll be honest. MLM has been hard to schedule game. Not MLM as well. I mean, good other competition, stuff like that, but, you know, it's easy.
Okay. Well, let's talk about your team. You're doing well for your second year in a row. You heard me on the podcast speak about how last year you actually sucked as a player. Just joking. But you weren't a playoff team. But here you are this year, 2 years running, headed straight for the playoffs. You're in a very tight division race right now. The Pats are 7-2. The Dolphins are 6-3. The Bills 2-7. You have a new user in the Jets who won their first game, by the way, in case you weren't paying attention to the bottom of your division. They're now 1-8. And right now you're sitting at the top. Last week, Dolphins losing to, I think it was the Colts, helped you out to get to the first place league. Are you confident that you can keep hold of your division with the Dolphins trailing at 6-3?
Yeah, definitely. I got a high confidence. It's coming strong from home. Had a lot of rookies in the line, just getting better and better each week. But I also said about Tom Brady, keep it simple and just let the players do the work.
Speaking of Brady, last year I looked at some historical information on your play last year. So with Brady, you were able to get 34 touchdowns last year with him, with 14 interceptions. This year, where, of course, 3/4 through the season, but you already have 11 interceptions. Are you feeling that the challenge this year against your opponents, that they probably studied you because you are a playoff team and they're starting to attack you more and you're having to change your game plan more often? Or do you feel that you just getting a feel for Brady all over again with different players on the squad out there?
And honestly, the last couple of games, my fault. Users get you play. So I just got to start with the gut now. I think I'm not trying to do a lot. So I just got to start game planning a little bit stronger. Keep guys on his toes, and make smart decisions. I made a lot of decisions the last couple of games. Still able to get the W, but I do want Tom Brady that are TD session ratio, so we gotta work on that.
And on the ground, you're doing an awesome job. I couldn't believe the stats you're pulling off on the ground. I'm not sure if you look at these stats of your own team or not, but I do, of course. And on the ground, here's what you're doing. You have 3 running backs. Of course, all 3 of them are not playing in a game at the same time. So at different points of the season, you've managed to have each one of your running backs run the ball for an average of 4.9 yards or higher. Leading the way here, of course, with Dion Lewis has the bulk of your carries with 5.1. And then you have your lowest running back, Mr. White. He has 4.9. But then you have a really weird thing going on with this Muhammad guy. He has 7.7 yards, but he's not getting a lot of carries. How do you explain that? What are you doing? Like, are you doing a special play over there? What's going on?
Always first take the run the ball, but they're a pass-happy team, so they pass the run game going, so I adjust to that. They're personnel. A lot of it is matching up with the opponent has. The opponent has a strong with the line, with a lot of hard hitters. I'm not going to run Lewis up the middle too much. I don't want him to fumble the ball a lot, so I get the bigger back to take that pounding. So I mix up my carry, my ball carry, and go on playing week by week. Also, Muhammad, he's no longer part of the picture. I wasn't paying attention. He was on the practice squad of the Bills. I got to release him and give him a chance to sign him if they want him. If not, I'd be glad to bring him back up. But he's just had a hell of a game. He's a shifty receiver, shifty back, receiver back as well. But, the passing game really opened up the run lane. So that's what we're at.
Let me tell you a secret. There's no way in the world Muhammad's coming back to your team. That guy's not letting him go, especially if I just gave you that stat, 7.7 yards. You're not getting that guy back. You can throw that in the way.
We have good portions of the season, and he was sitting on the Bills practice squad. So another man's trash is another man's goal. So, and he Bills make him probably when I use him. But it is what it is. He only has 60-something overall. He on leave for 6 weeks or 5 weeks now, so I'm just looking to get another back in that fold. So I like to have backfield rotation. Like I said, I got to have a 50 back, power back, and then a back that's trying to do it.
Well, I want to close out with the offense. I'm gonna move swiftly to your defense here, but just so everyone else knows, your offense is doing pretty well. They're running right now 8th in points in terms of overall from all the teams in the league. They're 6th in their overall yardage. You're 4th in passing, and you're the 11th rusher overall in terms of team total yards on offense. But moving to your defense, you opened up with this when you mentioned how well your team is doing right now, talking about your rookies and your rookies growing. You have a rookie on defense, Gilbert Rudd, I believe is his name, and right now he's accounting for 7 of your sacks. But you have 3 guys who have 7 sacks on your team, and that pairing of Rudd and Flowers coming in. What scheme are you running? The 3-4 scheme? Are you using the Patriots playbook over there? What exactly are you doing on defense?
I use Cincinnati playbook, defense. So I like to be tackled. I have second-year defensive tackle from Texas. I can't remember the name. Then I have a rookie defensive tackle, Valentine, which was a struggle at first. You got to get there where it's from. Got to play a little bit better. But now that they're getting better, they're eating up the middle. So they come off with a better rush.
Sounds good, man. And not to forget Derek Rivers, who is coming off that right side outside linebacker position. I think he's your third guy that's bringing in those sack totals for you. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to wrap it up with you here. But I do want to mention that you did say you think you can pull this thing off. You're 1 game ahead of the Dolphins. I'm not sure if you guys have played each other 2 times already this season, but I know there's a lot of football left to be played. And I'm pretty sure he's not going to take a nice liking to you saying that you wrapped this thing up.
No days off.
Well, in closing, is there anything that you would like to see take part of SPC that you haven't seen already? I know we have some plans on doing some live commentary soon, which I was going to save to bring that up with for the actual newscast we try to do every 4 weeks, but that's one of the things we have coming down the pipeline. However, is there anything else that you think you would like to see take part in league so we make it a better place for you and other members?
No, I'm just leaving. I only have first. I think the users are great to play with and schedule with. Haven't really had any attitude for anyone. Everyone's going to have a misunderstanding now. But, this is a league of gentlemen. So I think it's a gentleman's league, and I think, it's on top of the game right now. So I'm kind of happy where everything's at as far as the play, the league setting, And as far as sliders and stuff, that's always going to be people going to be happy, but, it is.
All right, well, Swift, the best luck to you unless you're playing the Washington Redskins. We hope you win every game you do play. With that being said, we're going to let you go and end the interview here. Thanks for coming on, man.
All right.
So for our second coach this week, we want to offer or welcome Cain to the show. Welcome, Cain. How are you?
I'm great, man. Great to be here.
All right. So you are currently the leader with the AFC West. You've been leading that division going back to last year. You were able to make it to the playoffs. I believe you made it to the championship round, and you lost there, of course, allowing the Titans to go on and win the Super Bowl. How do you feel about your team so far this year?
I gotta say, I'm feeling better about them this year than I did last year. The defense is really standing up. The running game was great. Lost C.J. Anderson for a few more weeks. That really hurt. Reigning MVP going down. It's tough, but we're moving on with the young guys and going okay.
Well, let me just comment on your offense here, because I think your team is more so. It's really weird. I'm not putting you down when I say this, because it's impressive. But you don't have any standout players on offense. But with that being said, you still are scoring 33 points. That's third for our league. Yards overall, you're 324. Your passing yards, you're 25th. And then you come back with the rushing at 152. I'm looking at your quarterbacks, and right now it looks like you have Robert Griffin III, who is an ex-Redskin player. Hurts how harsh to say that guy's name, but you have Robert Griffin III out there playing with you along with Simeon. So the impressive part about your offense that I'm impressed with, I don't know about everyone else, but you've only thrown, according to the Daddy Leagues, 5 interceptions so far this year. You also have a total of 13 touchdowns. How are you doing this while dropping back so much? I mean, I throw interceptions probably once a game. So, what is your trick here?
Well, I've learned when playing with RG3 and Trevor Simeon that they're not going to make the close throw, so you got to be pretty conservative with those guys. But when you have a running game that can really smash the defense and get them off balance, a play-action pass can turn into a big play. And that's pretty much how I've been doing it with Simeon and RG3. Somehow even Simeon has more rushing yards or better rushing stats than RG3. That I would have never guessed.
Crazy.
But it's really that threat of the run from my quarterbacks, as well as, the actual running backs, is really helping out the passing game and taking the load off of, let's face it, subpar quarterbacks.
Very reminiscent when Coach Shanahan had RG3, and here at the Washington Redskins, how they were able to really conquer teams that year. A lot of play action passing, a lot of fake read option runs and things of that nature allowed the whole passing game to open up for people like Garcon and others. Just to mention here, your offensive line, by the way, in case you didn't know this one, this is one that's not actually on a team site, but one you have to dig in Daddy Leagues to find out. But your offensive line is protecting your quarterback quite well, putting you at 4th overall in our league. So that's very impressive. Again, it's very rare to have that amount of low interceptions hitting into double digit weeks of the season. With that being said, though, on the other end of the ball, it is not the same story, my friend. You are a turnover forcing machine. you have Talib, who has 4 interceptions, Von Miller with 2, and I'll come back to Von Miller in 1 second. You have this guy, Deshaun Shed, who is 29 years old, for goodness sake. Nobody 29 does anything.
Big time free agency acquisition.
4 interceptions for that guy. And then you have Chris Harris with 4 interceptions and Todd Davis with 2. And I want to bring up your star rookie so far, your first-round draft pick, Deshaun Gray. This Deshaun, I'm noticing a trend here. I'm going to get somebody on my team named Deshaun next season. But Deshaun Gray for you has 10 sacks, and he's a rookie. How do you feel about him so far?
Man, he's out there dominating. I couldn't ask for more. One of my biggest weaknesses heading into the offseason last year was D-line. I mean, I had a guy named Adam Gostis who wasn't even a 70 overall. So I went out and I made some big moves. I brought in Jarrell Casey, moved Derek Wolfe inside, and then added this superstar rookie that's really feasting off of the opportunities that the other guys are giving him. I mean, Jarrell Casey's eating up blockers, Derek Wolfe is a menace, and then Deshaun Gray is free to terrorize quarterback. So it's really working out well. Not to mention I have another guy by the name of Von Miller. You may have heard of him. I believe he's also the best linebacker in the league right now in terms of the awards. So having that coming opposite potential defensive rookie of the year is really helping out on defense. And then I have, the savvy vets and Khalid, Harris, and Shed out there just taking away anything that hits the air. So, yeah, the defense is really being monstrous right now. And I haven't had anything like this before. No offense to no fly zone. And I do see, I did want to shout out Bradley Roby on the Colts. I traded him to the Colts, and now he's number 2 for best DB. Making me kind of regret it, but at the same time, as you said, I added that young man named Deshaun Shedd, and he really picked up the slack.
So how do you feel about your chances of coming out this division? Right now, you're hitting the division, of course, at 7-2. However, you do have the Raiders grabbing you by the tail here, 6-2 themselves, and then followed by the Chiefs, who you just beat that, and they were on an up and down streak. The Chiefs, you have to play them one more time along with the Raiders. And another important game on your schedule will be the Patriots. How do you feel so far about trying to see this thing all the way through and making the playoffs?
Well, I'm feeling good about my chances. I definitely have a couple tests coming up in the next week here. I have the always tough Jacksonville Jaguars coming up, and I'm really interested to see what my defense or my offense can do against their defense. And then, yes, I have the retribution game, the revenge game against the Raiders. He's one of my few losses this year, which kind of, makes it tough to say I'm going to dominate this division when one of my losses came from inside the division. So I'm really excited to, make amends for that and show the Raiders what everyone else is seeing all year long.
So let's shift gears here and not talk about so much the league itself. Let's talk about you as a player, your coach yourself. Do you approach every game with the same game plan? Do you make a game plan for your games? Are you the kind of player that just knows the playbook you're playing with traditionally, so you know what plays you want to use, or do you actually sit down on defense and say, hey, this guy? Do you study film? What do you do? How do you prepare for a game?
Well, I definitely take the training seriously. I go into the training and I see the percentages of what they run, where they like to run, what kind of passes they like to throw, and then I definitely scheme for that. I analyze their roster, see who gets used, because some people don't always use their best players. So you don't want to waste your best defender on an all-star receiver that may never get a pass. So, the things like that really come in handy. But essentially my game plan is the same on offense. It's run the darn ball. I've been yelling it at the TV all year. All the Broncos have to do is run the darn ball and win games, and that's all I do. I also grew up on Mike Shanahan. I've been a fan of the Broncos since the 90s, and I remember 2 Super Bowls from him, and I remember running the darn ball and play action. And that's essentially how my offense operates. So when it comes to those tough games like Jacksonville, we may have to pull out a little more out of the playbook, but essentially it's run the ball, play defense, create turnovers, and don't let them score a whole lot of points.
Sounds good, my friend. Is there anything you want to talk about with the league? I asked the last coach that was on, was there anything that he wanted to see SPC do, that they haven't done yet? I also mentioned to him, and just a reminder to those who just heard on the last interview, that we will be doing commentary for our playoff games. We didn't want to throw it in during the season. We want to give ourselves a chance to learn the actual players. So come playoffs, we are going to have some commentary going, live commentary for those games. But aside from that, is there anything else you think you can get out of SBC or things you want to see as a coach in SBC?
I think we're doing a great job. I'm loving the way the league operates, how everything's run. It's a very open league, easy to, talk to commissioners or other players, get resolutions, and really team up and make this a great thing. I do like the way we're moving forward. There's nothing I can really think of that would make the league exponentially better, stick to the rules and maintain the integrity of the league, and everything should be fine.
Well, Cain, we want to thank you for coming on the program. You are our second guest in Coach's Corner. We do thank you for taking time out to talk with us. We hope you well, wish you well for all the rest of your games. As I told the last guy, unless you're playing the Washington Redskins. Other than that, win. Thanks for coming on, bud.
Thank you.
No problem. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of our first edition of Coach's Corner. We will do our best to get all the coaches on here, no matter if you have a winning record or a losing record. We deem every member of our league important, and we want to make sure that each of you have a time to shine in the Coach's Corner. Thanks for joining in. We'll catch you next time. Until then, the slogan, ladies and gentlemen, SBC is just too sweet.